Azovs. How are you, Anna? Thanks for stopping by. I'm excited to talk about this new award-winning feature film. Tell us about how this project started for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited. Today is our release day, so we're streaming
All right.
on Apple and Amazon Prime and other services. So I'm really excited to get the movie out to audiences. So the project started, I had an obsession with Dostoevsky's novel, The Brothers Karamazov, and I am a theater director by training, and so I first developed it into actually a stage play with a ensemble cast and creative team, and it started running in New York City early March 2020 and ran for a couple of days, and then the entire world shut down in the pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah, so in that period of time, basically, the idea transformed to adapt it again into a film. And I had a producers come in, a co-writer. I had already had was using projection and live video in the stage production, so I had sort of a team of filmmakers already involved, and that's how it began its life moving into film.
Yeah, and that's the process. You find this creation, you come up with it, and you do it. So your love of theater, your love of the arts and classic literature led you to this, it sounds like.
Totally. Yeah, I feel really lucky just to have found something I loved and found people to support me and build a life around it. It's been really wonderful.
And then that process doesn't, once you have the idea, it doesn't start end there. You have to raise funds, you have to get everything together. It's been a process, right? To finally get this to finally happen.
Massive, massive project process. I've learned so much. Yeah, I mean, really, this is an indie film. It started from zero. We did it very low budget. The location where we filmed, my in-laws donated their home and property where we filmed, and also the cast and crew stayed. And it took a long time. We had a really small team. Everyone is incredibly talented and generous, and I learned as we went. And yeah, so it's just been piece by piece, kept going really to make it come out. And now, I mean, I'm thrilled that it's out in the world in this way.
And it felt so great, right? It feels great to have it out and everything. So just give us like just a quick synopsis of it, of the story.
Sure. So it's a contemporary adaptation of Dostoevsky's epic novel. It's a family drama. It's about the murder of the patriarch in the novel. And so I've adapted it to be contemporary American family and really distilled it down to being a story of these siblings and their relationship with each other and their father who is murdered. And the question is, who murdered him? And so we're sort of answering that as we move through the story and sort of learn more about each of their experiences and sort of traumas and coping strategies that they've adapted throughout their lifetime. And so we call it's sort of a part murder mystery, part spiritual quest in many ways.
And what do you think the relationship for people that are not familiar with the works and how you put this together? Where do you kind of can you give an explanation of what it reminds you of and other types of things? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely hope that people who aren't familiar with the novel still can get something out of it. I think if you're a person with a family with parents or siblings, I think, or even just a human being asking life's questions, there hopefully is something in it for you. Tone-wise, I think, a lot of people have said it has some similar things to like uh, Knives Out or
Ooh.
um,
Yeah.
what's the big HBO family, the patriarch anyway, these like,
Yeah,
I can't remember right now exactly where we are, but yeah, it has this kind of story of the old powerful man and how is it that the siblings and the people around them are coping and getting through it.
that's a fit everywhere, right? And
Yes,
how to
totally.
put it into a film in that amount of time. Did you ever consider it to being a series when you
Oh,
stood?
definitely. I mean, as I was right, I think it would be an amazing series. I think that, we somehow put it into an hour and a half feature film. There's so much material. You could definitely pull it out into a multi-part series if you wanted. But for this particular project, I thought keep distilling, keep it as tight. Maybe it'll have another life as an 8 hour 8 hour series. I think it's possible.
You know what's crazy is when you talk about why everything's becoming more and more serious. Where do you see movies now where people are so interested in the series? Do they want more in depth? Do you think that's what's happening now? That stories need to be more in depth than just discovered in 2 hours? Are we getting to that point? Yeah.
I think that's a great question. And I think certainly when we're showing kind of ensembles and we've got multiple characters, we're interested in seeing all those points of views and sort of taking our time to go through the complexities of a story. Um, and I think that we have this new culture of viewing where we're watching a lot from home and we like having that feeling of like, what's next? Let's watch the next one. I still love going to the movie theater. I think there's something beautiful about gathering with an audience and watching something in that way. But certainly it's our ways of watching things have changed in a lot of ways.
Are you seeing more people leaning towards? So when you have a movie, it's something of an adventure in a way because there's not many movies to choose from that are new. So that's the big thing. I'm not seeing tons of movies coming out. I'm seeing some series. I still think the content is lacking, so it's a perfect time for you to come on with this, I think.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, right. I think that, there's still something wonderful about filmmaking, about having that auteur voice. I think it gives folks like me, writers, directors, an opportunity to make something independently. A series certainly has a huge machine around it that's so necessary to bring something that massive to life. Um, yeah, I think that there's still something really wonderful, right, about the 2 hour, under 2 hour, some kind of experience. And people are craving that content. I think that it's just a different form than what we're used to in series.
I
Yeah.
think that's the key. That's the
Yeah.
key, the point. But I watch movies and like yesterday I watched a movie on Max. I'm not going to say the movie I watched, but ultimately I'm like, why didn't you get to the storyline and the plot right now? Because we only have 30 minutes to finish this.
Oh,
And
interesting.
and I don't get that. I don't know why writers aren't seeing that. That in a movie, you got to really get to the conflict 10 to 15 minutes in, right? If
Totally.
you don't get to that conflict till later, you're like, what am I watching? And people are
Totally.
gonna
And I
be
think
like,
something,
yeah.
yeah, that I've learned that I'm learning is, and maybe this is a difference too, you have to visually tell the story, get that conflict out in ways that are not just through exposition and dialogue. And right in a series, you kind of can expand that and stretch that so that the conversation can be longer. But right, you've got to get to it.
So I still think there is a room for films, but if I could count the good films I've watched, it's very slim and none.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like, right now that versus series and
Yeah.
how well done those series are. And a lot of the film companies are going to that. So this is an opportunity because there's some people that don't like series, and there's a lot of people who are just into film. But I
Mm.
think that what fits for you in this independent film is really the fact of the classical the
Yes.
classical story, how you're really so people you already have a built-in audience of people who have read the books, right? This right? Does that help in a way?
I
And
hope so. I think so, right. I think folks who are drawn to the classics, who there's a strong sort of maybe small group out there, but people who love Russian literature, who, this book meant something to them. And I think they're curious about it. I do have a kind of joke, a dream that there's a lot of high school English professors or teachers out there who someday get an essay from a student who like watched my movie, and then hopefully they'll go back and read the book, you know.
so this is a
Kind
perfect
of
way with the
adjacent.
movie and book and making connectivity after this is out. This is a great way to package the two together in a way where it's instructional for English literature. I mean, for Russian literature teachers, professors. I don't know. I see something because when you niche something so niche, there's so opportunistic opportunities for it to have a life of its own for a lot longer than something else that's standalone. That's my thought as a marketer.
Wonderful. I agree. And I hope that that's true. And now that it's out there, that people can keep finding it. And I think, what we tried to do too is find our personal sort of like more contemporary story within relationship to this novel. And I think that's something that, right, people often do when you're reading, is you sort of, relate things to your own experience in many ways. And so hopefully that's instructive for folks as they're thinking about potentially their own creative process or, just their life generally.
Absolutely. And I think that's the excitement that to put something out there. So that's the thing as a filmmaker. Are you looking to create something else? Is it already other things in the works for you? What's
Yeah,
going
I'm
on?
developing a couple other screenplays, and I still have my foot in the theater world a bit, but I've really loved moving into filmmaking. So hopefully, in the next couple of years, there'll be more out there.
And what did you learn about the whole fundraising process? Are you ready to do it? Are you understand it more, or you feel more confident
Well, I
moving
still have a
forward?
lot to learn. I'll say that. I think that, coming from the theater, I'm used to doing things pretty cheaply. So that's one thing that I feel like I've learned is like, how can you really make good use of resources and really prioritize your particular values with the money that you have? So yeah, I mean, I think I have a next phase of growth here to sort of go out and maybe try and raise more money in the future. But in this past project, I do want to sort of encourage people who are interested in making things to find ways to do it. Given whatever resources you have, I think there's so many new tools available to us
That
with
makes
yeah.
it so amazing. And the thing that people might think is, and I know it's always a bad to touch upon AI, but ultimately, if you use AI in the right way and leverage it, it's the best thing. And because ultimately it never will create the creativity of a human being. And that's the point that people have to understand. And some people who try to cut costs with AI in that way without a human being, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But everyone needs to embrace technology and where we're going next. And that's where I see as a marketer, but I also see as a creator. And this is exciting times. So if I was looking at, hey, how would I market your film down the line to get it to high school teachers? I would be able to create a list, come up with a strategy, and write it up in 5 minutes based on my knowledge and ability. That's the difference. And that's the opportunity for everyone can create what they want when they want, but then how do they market it to make the result of eyeballs and help the investors and funding and everything? So I see this as so niche. You could do so many different niche things with this after the film is over, after the whole release process that you
Mhm.
wouldn't imagine. Where it just kind of just ask questions, research, and you never know what you're going to find out. So there's definite lifeblood of this. I've done this before with specific people with books or different things where I get it exactly to the avatar and it's nobody else. And it's crazy, but it works when you niche to that level. And I think that I look forward to hearing the results and how you did with the film. Best place people can go. It's available now on.
It's available now on Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Fandango, a number of other cable streaming services. Just go put it in your search and find it.
All right.
Vimeo. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks, Anna. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Succession. That was the HBO show I couldn't remember.
Oh, yeah.